Okay, I hope you all can see my screen. Yes, okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Vindhya, and today I will be taking you all through how we are going about fostering design thinking mindsets among university students in CMR University. Oops, okay. All right. So, first of all, a very good afternoon, good evening, good night, and good morning to everyone out here. And my name is Vindhya Umapathy, and I'm from CMR University, which is in Bangalore, India. And as we started, I just wanted to give you a little bit of context about India itself. So, India is actually the fastest growing large economy in the world. And it is so diverse, it is culturally diverse, and in all aspects, extremely diverse. We have over 2,000 ethnic groups. We speak over 100 languages, and it is the birthplace of four major religions. And we are the leader in digital transactions. So 41% of the world's real-time transactions happen in India. We're also we've also become number one right now with our population, and we'd like to say we're the largest talent factory in the world. And one of the good things about this is that most of our population is actually very young. We have a fairly young population with the average age being 29 years. And so our GDP is also doing well. So we're at over $3.5 trillion right now. And to tell you a little bit more about where we stand in terms of innovation, India is transforming at a tremendous pace and scale. So right now we are number 3 in the world when it comes to the total number of unicorns. We've seen a rapid rise over the last couple of years. And we are also number 1 in the world when it comes to startups, the number of startups. We have new startups being added every day.
Vindhya,
Yes. Yes,
all the others can hear you. Okay.
Okay. All right. Everything okay? All right. Okay, I'll go ahead then. And there are two major hubs in India, two major clusters where we have, an innovation ecosystem of sorts. So we have one hub around Delhi in the north, and one hub around Bangalore. And Bangalore is the startup capital of India. So we have a lot going on out here. And this was just to give you a little bit of context to, who we are, where we are, because that forms a big part of our story. So right now, Bangalore is growing at a rapid pace, and we have a lot of startups here. We have a huge IT boom. People are coming to Bangalore from all over the country and even from around the world. And talent plays a huge role. Universities play a huge role in building this innovation ecosystem in Bangalore. So now we'll get to CMR University. I'll give you a little bit of context about our university as well. This is our founder. He is late Sri Chikkamuniappa Reddy, and he was fondly known as CMR. And he is somebody who had, he had a vision to ensure that we bring education for the masses, that we have quality education, that we have whole education, and that we make education affordable. So these were the main pillars that he laid down with his vision for what education must be. So this is how CMR University started about 3 decades ago. This is what was laid down, and a trust was formed, and the university had started, and the university is also growing at a very rapid pace. And since we're looking at design thinking in CMR University, I must mention our provost, Dr. Trishta Rammurthy. She is somebody who is key when it comes to transforming the way that we go about education in CMR University and in the CMR group of institutions. She is somebody who has studied all over the world. She has, she has her doctorate from King's College in London, and she has also done her master's in Stanford, and she's also done her bachelor's in Singapore. And she's looking to bring all of the best practices from across the world into CMR University, and looking to build a culture of innovation, build student leaders, and ensure that students become change makers. So that brings me to the vision of CMR University. Our vision is to nurture creative thinkers who will drive positive global change. So, this was a very powerful vision that was laid down. And I keep going back to the vision all the time. We keep the vision as our North Star. We keep going back to this. Anytime we're looking at designing our curriculum, anytime we're looking at doing anything that we're doing, we come back to this. And I found it to be a very powerful vision compared to a lot of other visions that I've seen. So, I'm sorry, it's gone back, I think. I'm sorry. One second. Okay. A little more context about CMR University. We are part of the CMR group of institutions, and we have been here for 3 decades in higher education. We have 4 campuses across Bangalore in different parts of Bangalore. We have 8 schools of studies and over 60 programs that are offered. And we have over 6,000 students and 250 plus educators in our university. And the courses at our university are offered under these main categories. One is our program core curriculum. Program core curriculum is curriculum that is deeply aligned with the course that students have chosen, be it law or engineering. Based on their discipline, they have their program core curriculum. And common core curriculum is curriculum that is there for students across all streams, regardless of what they are specializing in. So the objective of Common Core Curriculum is that we are looking to help students thrive in the University of Life, and we're helping students prepare for a future that they do not know, for jobs that don't exist today, and for all of life's challenges. So these are our key objectives, and everything we do, we align ourselves to these 3 key objectives, and also the 3 main aspects of our Common Core Curriculum, which is preparing for success, contributing to society, and knowing self and community. So, design thinking is a course that is being offered by the Department of Common Core Curriculum. And we are also looking at enabling, like, we are also looking at getting students to prepare for success, contribute to society, and know themselves better through design thinking as well. So, a little more context about all of the different activities we are up to with design thinking in the Department of Common Core Curriculum. We are, of course, we have a design thinking course for students. We have different types of courses. We have week-long courses. We also have semester-long courses. They are credited courses. I'll tell you a little more about that a little later. We have an annual event. This is our flagship event, the Design Thinking Day. And this was the event that Professor Yuli was also a part of. And this time we held the Global Innovation Challenge. And we are also into faculty training. We have trained our faculty from different streams as well. We're getting everybody aligned with the design thinking process so that they can take it forward with their subjects as well. So we have just very recently opened our design thinking lab, a space for creative collaboration. And we are looking to launch our design thinking club, and we will get to that as well shortly. And now we are also into consultancy, a little bit, we could call it. We are also conducting sessions for CMR PU, that is the 11th and 12th grade students who are part of the CMR group of institutions, part of the CMR group of schools. We are also conducting sessions for them, an enrichment program for them. This is something new that just started over the last month. And we will soon also be consulting with an external organization. So that way, keeping our skills relevant, being in touch with industry, trying to bring them in as well. So these are some of the activities that we are up to. And this is our team. Of course, I'm here. Shirley is also here. I saw Shirley was here. Shirley, could you say a quick hi? Shirley, all right. 1 second. All right, I can't see Shirley yet. All right, and then we have Gauri and Vignesh. Vignesh is also here. He can say a quick hi.
Hi.
Okay, so Vignesh is right here with me in the room, so there's a slight bit of an echo. And Hari, you can also wave. Hari is also here. So Hari is our innovation lab supervisor. He takes care of the design thinking lab. All of us facilitate design thinking workshops and sessions for students across all streams.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Gauri, are you here? I'm sorry, I missed Gauri, I think. I thought, Gauri, are you here? Would you like to wave and say a hi to
Yeah,
everybody?
I
Okay, Gauri,
cannot
I missed
switch on the
you.
camera right now, but yeah, hi everyone.
Okay, great. Hi. So we are the design thinking team at CMR University. We are also a very diverse team. Gauri and Hari are from the north, and the rest of us are from South India, from different parts of the country. And we've all magically come together, and we are the design thinking team. And we create sessions, we create the curriculum, and we conduct sessions for students across all streams. And it's been a very interesting and adventurous journey doing this. Um, right. So we facilitate sessions for students, of course, across all streams. We facilitate sessions which are 1 credit courses or 2 credit courses, 4 credit courses, as well as the graduate requirement. We're doing this in the form of week-long sprints and in the form of semester-long courses. And so far, we've done this for over 4,200 students over the last 2 academic years. So that's been a big milestone for us. And today we are going to tell you a little bit about how we are looking at fostering design thinking mindsets among our students and the initiatives that we have taken in order to do this. This is something that we've all found to be very, very essential, more than the process or anything else that students tend to learn during their design thinking sessions. What we really hope that students take away at the end of this is a shift in their mindset and a shift in the way that they work with others. So these are the 3 main aspects that we are looking at when it comes to design thinking mindsets. So we have our design thinking lab that we've designed very recently, and it's up and running now. We also have an open innovation challenge that we put out that also happened quite recently. We had that in March. And we also are looking at our design thinking club. This is something we are looking to launch in the month of August. So I will tell you all a little story. I've actually designed this presentation to be more visual in terms of a lot of pictures and to tell you a few stories from our experiences here. So one of the things that we realized is that students up to 12th grade in most schools usually work by themselves, and they are mainly focused on doing well in their 12th grade board exams, scoring a good score in order to get into a university. And I'm pretty sure it's similar in many of the other countries as well. So this is something that was when they come into design thinking, when they come into our classes, this is something different that they tend to do, because we are looking at getting them all to build a collaborative spirit. So this is something that they are not that used to, but they get used to it pretty quickly. And one of the key things we've seen when it comes to building a collaborative spirit is the kind of space that we set up in the beginning of our classes. So typically, all of our sessions, when we first started, we started off in the classrooms that they had for students across the different streams. So we would go to their classrooms, and then we would conduct our sessions out there. And then we very quickly realized that it wouldn't work out. We would struggle to get them into teams and all of that. So we ended up completely rearranging the furniture. This is how we started. And we got students. This usually we tend to come in during their first semester, so it's a great way for students to make new friends and to get to know each other. So we just started with getting rearranging furniture. There were some times where we even got furniture from one campus to another, because the tables sometimes would not shift around. So we started making all of these make do arrangements, and we started building something that we later on realized would turn out to be something much bigger than what we were doing in the beginning. So this is how it all started. And we would make the best of the space that we had. We've used the windows for brainstorming. We've used tables. We've used the spaces in between. We've done all of this, and students have also really enjoyed it, because they have they've been able to break the format of how they typically sit in a classroom. So all of this has been a big change for them, and they've really enjoyed it as well. And sometimes our activities don't really fit in the classrooms, so we end up coming out into the corridors and having all our sessions there. And students who are walking past are usually very curious. The students who are in the activity, many of them who are shy, don't know each other too well, get warmed up, and then they start getting along by the end of our activities and by the end of our sessions. And sometimes we also end up going down on the floor and sitting around in a circle on the floor, because we also believe that it's very powerful to be able to sit around in a circle. So it's also very natural in India to sit on the floor. So this is something that a lot of the students also enjoy. We try to break the format of sitting or standing, and we end up doing things a little differently. So this is how we started. And these experiences, we also had some classrooms where we had tables where students could sit around. This was the design thinking lab before we transformed it. So this is how it was when we first started. And this led to designing our design thinking lab. We got the approvals from the top management, we got the space, we got the budgets, we got a very good furniture designer on board, and then we could dream and we could create something. So this is what we ended up doing. This is a quote that really sticks to me. I studied architecture, so this is something that I keep going back to, which is that we shape our buildings, thereafter they shape us. So this is something I think about, because space can have such a tremendous impact on the way that we live, on the way that we interact with each other, on the way that we feel, that we found it really essential that we have a space completely dedicated for design thinking. And so we designed the design thinking lab. This is in CMR University's Lakeside campus. It's a new campus. And this was a fairly new building, and they had a completely open floor. And we happily took over it. So we ended up, having spaces for students to sit in teams, having spaces for students to brainstorm, having spaces for students to present in small group as well as in large groups, having a space for rapid prototyping, and having a space to just chill and just be. So this is what we ended up dreaming of, and this is what we ended up doing. So these are some 3D renders of the space that we finally got designed. And this is the space. So all of this happened over the last few months. I think we started sometime in January, and by March we had the space up and running. So now students work out of the design thinking lab. All of the students who are at the Lakeside campus, they are usually extremely happy to be there. They naturally gravitate towards the lab. They're there even outside of their class hours, and they are more excited to work on their projects. They are more excited to be together, and they're more excited to brainstorm. So the space allows for small presentations with a small group, because we're looking at tiny projects and teams presenting to other teams. And we also have spaces where students can just move the furniture around. These cubes especially, we really love these cubes. They're light, they are, they're stackable as well, and we can move them around. And it allows for a really intimate setting where we can interact with students at eye level and just sit around again in a circle. So another thing we have realized when it comes to building the collaborative spirit is that since we get students to form teams and work in teams, we've realized that many of them feel, not so comfortable in their team. They may have disagreements, they may not get along with each other in their team. Some teams, break up, they fall apart, all of the natural things that end up happening. So sometimes all we have to do is kind of become a counselor as well. We sit down with the team, and we look at, okay, what is going on, what is not working, and we get them to come up with the solutions themselves. And through going through all of this, students and teams slowly learn to work together. We've seen teams go through all the different phases that they talk about. That is, the storming and the forming, the storming, performing, and adjourning. We see them go through all of this in our spaces. So we believe that we can see a huge change in our students and the way that they interact with each other simply by using the design thinking lab. So this is again an example of students presenting to each other. They all work on projects. Sometimes they travel, and they try to search for answers. They bring it back, and then they share it with their classmates. And sometimes we also have very large group sessions. So sometimes we just need to call everybody and talk to the whole group. So again, the lab allows us to do this, because now we have different levels of seating. We have students being able to move furniture around. We've kept the lab very flexible. And when they are able to sit around informally, when they're able to sit with their classmates like this, we see a different kind of a bond that develops among the students. So this is something that we are really cherishing over the last couple of months as we've been using the lab. And it's not just the students. We've also had our faculty members come and use the lab to collaborate, to discuss, to present their work. So it's been great for the faculty as well. So we've seen how space can absolutely transform how people feel in a space and how people interact with each other in a space. So moving on to the next mindset, we were looking at the spirit of experimentation. So with the spirit of experimentation, again, our design thinking lab has played a key role in enabling students to experiment, because being able to experiment means being able to stay back for longer hours. Being able to experiment means being able to sit with your project and not really be disturbed. So we've got students who come back. Usually our university, they're usually all students leave at the end of the day, and not too many students stay back, because it's a very new university. It's a little bit in the outskirts of the city, so not too many students stay back. So slowly, because of our lab, we are seeing students stay back. We have Hari, who's taking care of our lab, and he usually stays back in the lab. and encourages the students. And students end up taking on passion projects and working on all kinds of things. So right now they're also trying to problem solve in the lab itself. One of the little problems that we have is that we have a lot of windows in our lab. It's not really a problem, it's actually a blessing. But the problem is that somebody has to close all of those windows before they leave. So one of the projects that they are working on is getting a robot to go around the entire lab and take pictures of all the windows and detect which ones are open and which ones are closed. And this is so that it can help whoever has to close the windows, just straight go up to those specific windows and close the windows. So they're taking on some very interesting, sometimes fun, sometimes silly, and sometimes very practical projects. All of this is just in its very early stages. I can see our prototyping space and our maker space slowly coming to life and transforming over time. This is another example of experimentation. So of course these are both like physical, very tangible examples of experimentation, but we have seen students experiment a lot, even on paper, right? Just they keep going even when things are hard. So we've seen students do that. So this is a floating sculpture of our university logo. Our university logo is the swan. It's a blue swan. And we are having, we got a sculptor on board to do a small workshop with our students to explore how they can make a floating sculpture. So this entire sculpture was was done by students along with the facilitator. So our architecture students and our film school students, all of them got together. They laid down these aluminum pipes which were painted blue, and there were a lot of calculations involved, and they finally made it happen. So this is also something that we're proud of, and it is this swan. This we're calling the swan the Hamsa. The Hamsa means swan, and this is proudly up in one of our main blocks. It's in the School of Design and in the School of Architecture. So this is something that was also there. This is where we also had our design thinking day. So you might see that in our photographs. And this is some of the feedback that we received from the students. Of course, there are just 4 out here. This is the feedback that we received from our very first batch of students who ended up using the design thinking lab. This is from our design school students. They told us that they really look forward to being in the space, that they're excited to work with their teams, and that they feel more open and comfortable and to be here. So this is something that's very reassuring for us. And I feel like we are in the beginning of something big that is going to happen with our design thinking lab. So moving on to our second big initiative that we wanted to talk about in terms of building the design thinking mindset. This is CAUSE 2023. CAUSE 2023 was a global open innovation challenge. This is something that we put out for both schools and universities. In the beginning, we were thinking that let's just have it for our university, and from there we decided to open it out to other universities as well. And then we decided that what, innovation shouldn't really have an age. Let's open it out to schools as well. So we did that, and since we also went online, we decided to make it global, and it just grew organically, and we saw some amazing participation. We had 750 teams register from 10 countries. We had 3,000 participants, and from 90 unique institutions, and then we got more than 30 jurors on board from 4 different countries. In fact, Avinash, who is also here, was also one of our online jurors. So it was truly remarkable. It was really incredible to see what happened. So all of us were really busy in the first few months of the year trying to put up this challenge. And we believe that through having an open innovation challenge. We decided to call it cause because we wanted it to sound like it is, because we were looking at the sustainable development goals, that students are designing something for a cause, and also that we wanted students to know that they can, right, because we can. So we wanted students to know that they are capable of solving real world problems. We wanted students to work in interdisciplinary teams. We wanted to connect a diverse network of industry mentors and experts and peers with our students. And we wanted students to share the same platform. We wanted to do away with age. So we had students all the way from fifth grade, all the way to undergraduate and postgraduate courses, all of them in the same space, displaying their work and sharing their thoughts on the problems that they've identified and the solutions that they've come up with. So that was something really incredible. So having these initiatives, we could really see how it totally pushes students to bring out their absolute creative best. So we focused on the sustainable development goals for this challenge. Students could pick any of the goals, look at problems that are there in their own community, in their own neighborhood, and look at, think local and act global. So, think global and act local. So, students picked up one of the goals, and they looked at one of the problems that they can find that is there in their community or in their city, and they problem solved for the same. So these are some images from our event. This is the same building. You can see the Hamsa, and you can see we invited the top 60 teams. We had multiple rounds. We had an online round. We shortlisted the entries, and we got the top 60 teams to finally come on board. And of course, some of those teams were also online. And of course, we had Professor Yuli, who was our guest of honor. He helped inaugurate Cause 2023, and that was really wonderful. So he was on the big screen. We had a huge LED screen, and everybody could see him on the screen. So we had students present on the screen as well. So this is just some glimpses of what our event looked like. We had students standing around and presenting their work to passerbys. We had a large audience. We had students from across the university. We had parents. We had faculty. We had industry experts. We had everybody moving around and giving students their feedback and having students present their work. So students having an opportunity to actually stand as a group, prepare for a presentation and present as a team, that itself was a huge transformative experience. We've seen teams from schools as
Everybody's still on board?
Sorry?
We lost that. Okay.
You lost you for a second.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you. So I'm just sharing some images from our event, from the Global Open Innovation Challenge. We've had students come up with apps and display them very professionally, and share this with the industry experts and parents and and others. So this was a wonderful event. We've had students come in from so many of the other universities as well. And thanks to the Global Design Thinking Alliance, we had great participation from our neighboring university, SNS. Sorry, you can't hear me? Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes,
hear
yes,
you.
we can. I can hear you.
All right, okay, great. So thanks to the Global Design Thinking Alliance, we've also had amazing participation from one of our other members from SNS, institution. So we've had so many students register. We've had many students even come all the way and stay in our campus and present their work here. This is one of their teams, in fact, who made it to the final round who made it to the top 6. They came up with some very interesting projects around doing away with bed sores and coming up with the analogy of a chessboard and how can you create beds that don't cause bed sores, especially for coma patients or for people who are bedridden. So it was a very interesting project, and a lot of students, we could see so much empathy, we could see so much care in all of their projects. So we also had teams joining online. We've had teams coming in from this particular team is from the US. They were also one of our top 6 teams. So we've had teams joining online and sharing their projects and their work on the big screen. And we also had our online solution showcase, which happened online. So we've had out here, we have Avinash, who is also from HPI, and we also had Adam from Australia, and we had teams from around the world. So it was a very interesting experience because they got to see each other's projects, and it was a great platform for them to exchange ideas and learn from each other. And now moving on to the next mindset, which is curiosity. So with curiosity, one of the things, since we've been talking so much about being in the classroom, one thing that we really encourage our students to do is to leave the classroom and to go out and to ask questions and to explore in the real world. So here we are in a landfill, actually. So we ended up coming to this landfill because we wanted to explore where does our tea cups go when we drink tea at the canteen, and we drink tea in a paper cup. Where does it finally end up? Right. So, and that journey brought us to the landfill. So we had a whole bunch of students come to the landfill, explore what the space is like. Of course, we didn't get permissions that easily to enter the space. And then with a little bit of convincing, we made about like 10 to 15 phone calls, and then we finally were able to, enter the space, and we had a guided tour of the landfill itself. And we got to understand that there's already so much that's going on in terms of managing waste at the landfill and with the leachate treatment plant as well. So this is one such trip. Again, this is the landfill in Belahalli in Bangalore. So this was a really eye-opening experience because students never really think of these things. They never really zoom out and try to see the bigger picture. So one of the things that we get students to do is to zoom in and to zoom out quite a lot with their projects. So that ended up with the students coming up with their own ideas of how could we deal with landfills and what are some of the problems that are there in landfills. So after going on that visit, these students came back, they made some models, they came up with some ideas, and here they are presenting it on Design Thinking Day to some of our industry experts. And our next mindset that we want students to develop is empathy. And this is actually a tough one because usually it's easy to say fill out an empathy map. It's easy to say go out into, move out of your bubbles and look at the world and try to understand what's going on. So maybe students may empathize with someone in that moment when they are there, but being able to have that empathetic endurance to be able to continue to feel empathetic even beyond the time that you are, with someone, that is something that we are looking to cultivate a little bit more, and we are trying to see how we can bring that quality into our students, maybe through the Design Thinking Club and maybe through social immersion programs. So this is an example of students going out and trying to explore what it's like when people are having water scarcity issues or any other issues. So they've gone out, they've spoken to the locals in their local language. They have made some friends, and they have come back into the classroom with their findings. We've even had students try to explore what are some of the problems faced in public schools, and they've actually sat through one of the classes and been with the students there. So all of this came as surprises for us, because we didn't really think that they would go out and do it. Slowly, as they got used to design thinking, they started becoming a lot more adventurous. They started becoming less afraid. They started moving out of their comfort zone. So in especially in Bangalore and in India, a lot of us live in these bubbles. We live in a bubble where we are living in our home in a very comfortable space, maybe in an apartment, and then we go to another bubble, which is maybe our university or campus or workplace or wherever we go. And then we go to another bubble, which would be like maybe a mall or a restaurant. And we try to usually ignore everything else in between, because we see so much happening in between. And through our design thinking workshops, we get students to kind of immerse in the in between spaces, in between the bubbles, right? So, and especially looking at the sustainable development goals, students pick up some kind of a project. And now, one thing that we are proud to say is that our students are not afraid to step out of their bubble and to explore what it's like in somebody else's world. Of course, growing that empathetic fitness and growing that empathetic endurance might take some time, but we're getting there, and we're happy with the transformation that is taking place. And this is how our design thinking lab, our design thinking club, and the design thinking day and our workshop, this is how it pans out over their course. So this is for a typical 2-year PG program. Students may have one design thinking workshop, maybe a week-long workshop in year 2, but they get the opportunity to participate in 2 design thinking days, the one that happens in year 1 and the one that happens in year 2. And once they complete their design thinking workshop, they get to be part of the design thinking club, and they get access to the lab as well, because now they understand the concepts, and they're able to implement, and they are free to take on their own projects and collaborate with students from other streams as well. So it's very similar. This is how it would be for a 3-year program. They would have a design thinking workshop, and post which they have access to all the design thinking days and the club and the lab. And it's very similar, of course, for the 4-year UG courses as well, except that for the 4-year UG courses, we end up doing a semester-long course. We do it over 2 semesters, so they actually have design thinking over an entire year. So these are the students who we really form a bond with. These are the students who we, who get to really take their prototypes forward. So we wanted to bring this experience of really immersing in the design thinking process to the other students who are not able to, do a whole 1-year program. So that's why we wanted those students to have access to the design thinking club as well as the lab. And of course, a very similar story for the 5-year program as well. And that brings us to the very last part, which is the Design Thinking Club. The Design Thinking Club is something that we are going to launch very soon. We are looking at promoting student-driven real-world problem solving. We want students to develop the design thinking mindsets beyond their usual courses, and we want to promote interdisciplinary collaboration and, of course, have industry connect. And the way that we want to do this is through hackathons and sprints and prototyping, and of course, access to mentorship. And one of the other big things we're looking at is rural or social immersion camps, so that they may build their empathetic endurance. And we are looking to launch this in 2023. I know I've gone a little longer than expected, and I just have a short form. I was initially planning to do a Miro board, but we have a short form that you can scan. You can scan this QR code, and you could share your views on how you go about thinking mindset in your institution. If you are part of an institution, we'd love to hear from you. Please also share it with others in your institutions or in your circles. we'd love to hear from. All are doing that you feel has had a big role to play in the way that students develop these mindsets. We'd love to hear from you. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Vindhya. Big applause.
Thank you.
Big applause for your contribution here to the design thinking world. Actually, it's really impressive what you were coming up with. Actually, I had problems with my internet line here, and I still seeing problems. So I might I just got maybe 2/3 of what you were saying. But I could see your slides, and so it's I saw your impressive achievements. Actually, I didn't know about your design thinking lab. You told about it, but I haven't seen pictures, so it's really great to see. We don't have that much of time left now, but I think there are lots of very positive comments in the chat so far. Is there anybody who has a direct question or to Vindhya? Please raise your hand or start speaking immediately if you like. There's Sebastian.
Yes, hi Vindhya. So great presentation, and thank you for sharing these awesome pics about your journey. Oh, I guess I have to close the door. One question, since I really like that you had this mandatory course in year 1 already, so that students really can profit from what they've learned during all their studies. Have you first results already if your course in year 1 fosters collaboration, interdisciplinary collaboration, also in later years at your university? Oh, you're muted.
You're muted. Vindhya, you're muted.
Sorry. Yeah,
Now
I
we can
was
hear you.
saying that I'm not sure. Thank you. I was just saying that I'm not sure if I got your question completely, but you were asking about if we are looking at interdisciplinary collaboration in our courses, right? In our mandatory.
No. I mean, I guess you're using interdisciplinary collaboration during your courses. I wanted to know whether that also fosters interdisciplinary collaboration once students have finished your courses and are back in their normal studies. So do in your university architecture students still collaborate with other disciplines, for instance?
Yes, absolutely. We've seen that design thinking actually creates a platform for students across all streams to speak the same language. And they make a lot of friends, especially with the design thinking day and with our lab. And when students are hanging out, they very organically form these friendships, and it just very organically starts happening. And sometimes some students, I've had a sound engineering student come up to me saying, I have an idea for a new type of speaker. Can you connect me to some engineering students and some design students? So we have students coming up like that as well. We've seen a lot of things happen more organically, and I think we will also start looking at what are some interventions we can have to promote more interdisciplinary collaborations in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Avinash.
Hi, Vindhya. Good to
Hi,
hear you speak so passionately about design thinking and your work. I have a couple of questions, but I'll just ask one of them. So in this whole ecosystem building exercise, where do you see the government coming and playing a role? Because government of India is like pouring in buckets of money in the whole ecosystem building. How do you think you can use that money? You can use that collaboration. And the second is, where do you see the industry playing a role? Like at HPI here, we work with the industry a lot as a project partner, but do you also see that picking up in India or at CMR? So basically 2 questions.
Both are wonderful questions. And in fact, it's a great reminder as well. Thank you, Avinash. We are right now looking at some industry collaborations. We've started with something called Thinkcubator, and they are looking to come in and help fund student projects. They are looking for students. They want 200 entries from, they're looking for 200 entries from our university. They're looking to shortlist some teams. They're looking to fund some. Had some students even be absorbed by another event that was happening at the IITs. So they have gone for a 1-week boot camp out there, and we are, with respect to the government of India, we are yet to completely collaborate. We have had we have seen some of the initiatives that they are up to, and we are yet to start getting into all of that, but we are on the brink. So our teammate Hari actually has brought in some very amazing industry experts to come in and collaborate through Thinkcubator, and it all happens through our networks, and we need to very actively spend some time on doing this. I think this is something that we will look into next, especially with the launch of our Design Thinking Club.
Thank you, Vindhya. Good luck.
Thanks, Avinash. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Is there any other remark, question? Not now. Actually, we are now also officially on the hour, and which is usually the time where we stop the recording, the official recording, and we have that give us the chance to have a little kind of fireside chat, get together, and we could use that opportunity to stop the recording.